My name is Zina, and I once stood where no woman had ever dared to be. And it all began with a call to battle. It was a quiet morning when the king's decree came. Every family was to send one man to join the great warriors and protect our land. My heart sank. My father was old, his hands shaky from age, and his steps slower than they once were. My younger brother was just a boy, too small to hold a spear. Who would go? Who would protect my family? That night, I watched my father pack his old shield and sword. Tears filled my eyes. I couldn't let him go, knowing it could mean his end. I had to find a way. As the moon rose high, I made a choice. I would go. I would take my father's place, even if it meant hiding who I truly was. I cut my long braids, wrapped my chest tightly, and put on his warrior garments. I became a soldier and a son, not a daughter. My mother wept when she saw me. She feared for me, but she understood. Be brave and come home safe. That was the last words my mother told me with tears rushing from her eyes. But I was determined, and nothing on earth will stop me at that moment. So I left to join other villagers who were being given battle training. Training was hard. I was smaller than the other warriors, and my body ached every night. At first, the others doubted me. They laughed at my clumsy steps and weak arms. But I didn't give up. I trained harder than anyone else. Slowly, I became stronger. My spear was no longer heavy, and my feet moved like the wind. Over time, I earned their respect. We became like family, brothers bound by duty and trust. And finally we are battle ready and the enemies are upon us. We matched fearlessly with boldness and courage. As we marched towards battle, I said to myself, I shall be victorious and I shall come back to you, my lovely mother. Suddenly, the enemy soldiers approaches with loud screams. And the epic battle has just begun. The battles were fierce. Arrows flew like rain, and the ground shook beneath our feet. Fear tried to creep into my heart as I saw brave warriors screaming like babies, with most of them laying lifeless on the battlefield, but I pushed it away as I fought with all my strength, my mind sharp and my spirit steady. After so many hours of battle and so many fallen heroes, the enemy soldiers retreated and called for backup. We went straight after them as commanded by our leader. As we matched, the enemy trapped us in a deep valley. We were outnumbered and surrounded. I studied the land and found a narrow path through the hills. I led my warriors to safety under the cover of night. They called me a hero, though they still didn't know my secret. Our greatest fight came when the enemy attacked us from two flanks. The battle raged for hours. I led my troops into the heart of the fight, cutting through their lines. Then, an arrow struck my shoulder. The pain was sharp, but I kept fighting. With one last push, we drove the enemy away. With that glorious moment and the joy of victory, I was lost in the shadows as I fell to the ground. My helmet came off, and my long hair tumbled out. Gasps filled the air. I was revealed. The warriors stared at me, their faces a mix of shock and awe. You are a woman, one of them asked. I nodded, unsure of what they would do. But then, they knelt. One by one, they bowed their heads. You are the bravest of us all, the chief said. Your heart is what makes a true warrior. The king himself thanked me and offered me treasures. But I asked for only one thing: to go home and see my mother. When I returned, my family welcomed me with open arms. My father held me so close with tears in his eyes. You have made us proud, he said. And my mother, whom I love so much, was so happy to see me. I hugged her and told her that I love her so much, and even death can never change that. Now, I share my story so you will remember that courage is not about size or strength. It is about the fire inside your heart. And when you fight for what you love, you can do the impossible. And so, my children, never forget. The world may see you as small, but your spirit can be as big as the mountains. Be brave, be kind, and always stand for what is right. That is the way of a true warrior. Please share this video and subscribe to this channel to support me, and please come again for another epic adventurous tales.